gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I just wanted to make a quick video comparing my two editions of Mage Knight. I have Mage Knight the Ultimate Edition, which is very large. And then I have my copy of the earlier printing with all of the expansions inside in this much smaller box. So I'm going to give you a tour of what's inside each of these boxes and tell you which of the editions that I personally plan to keep, as well as opinions for those of you who might be getting the game for the first time. So let's start with this chunky boy right here. This is the Ultimate Edition of Mage Knight. And as you can see, it also has all 3 expansions already inside, plus 5 new cards. So let's open it up. And inside you can see all kinds of useful materials. My favorite actually is this help sheet that has enemy tokens from all the different expansions, so you can tell everything apart. And then you get a game walkthrough, expansion rulebooks, the stuff about the dual colored action cards, which are the new cards, the regular rulebook, the other one was the expansions, and then just the boards that you use to track your fame and what day or night it is. Then inside you have these plastic inserts that hold all of the miniatures. I mean, it's nice. It holds them in a really nice display way. And then you can see here there are cards all down the side. And then if you take this out, you can see that there's space for all of the different abilities, stuff from Shades of Tesla. There's a bunch of expansion material in the middle, all of the enemy tokens, and then spaces to hold all of your shield tokens and crystals. So if you take the plastic off, you'll see that there's actually quite a bit of stuff in here. So all the dice and crystals, shield tokens, all of the different enemy tokens are here. And then underneath you have all of your terrain tiles. There's also stuff in the middle here. So these are a couple little pieces from Shades of Tesla and then from the Lost Legion expansion. And then this spot holds all the leveling up tokens and the ruins tokens. So basically all my little angular pieces are over here. And that's what's inside of the Mage Knight Ultimate Edition box. So we'll put this back together, and then I will show you what is in my copy of Mage Knight, the one that I've had and loved for many years. So here's my copy of Mage Knight, the one that I first bought when I was a young and dewy-eyed solo gamer hoping to learn Mage Knight, and I did, and it was great. So here's my copy, and here's what I ended up doing with it. This is probably the first game where I ever threw out the insert and did my own thing. Man, am I glad I started doing that. So here's the old rulebook and player boards. One thing I will say for Mage Knight Ultimate Edition is that I do think that the rulebooks are better, and I do like that there are sheets to clarify which tokens are in which expansion. However, these are the rulebooks I learned from, and they do me just fine. And as you can see, here's like the little rules that came with the expansions when I first unboxed them. Here's the one for Lost Legion, and these are all combined into one rulebook when you look into Ultimate Edition. And then here's what I've got going on inside the box. So these are deck boxes that are organized according to my preferences that hold all the decks for heroes, wounds, magical spells, artifacts, just whatever card you need. I have got them all arranged in these Ultra Pro boxes, and they are sleeved in Dragon Shields. So this is all the cards for the game, including, I might add, the 5 extra ones that are in Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. You can get those as like a little separate pack, and I did. So all the Mage Knight cards are in here. I've actually also got in a separate baggie all the cards and tokens that I replaced when I got the Lost Legion expansion. They did some updates between the first printing of the game and then between the base game and Lost Legion. So here are my little extras. I just kind of keep them for historical interest. All of my terrain is here, so my map tiles, no problem at all. I also keep my round tiles from Shades of Tesla and Lost Legion just tucked in there. Day and night board. And then I have these tackle boxes. So this tackle box just has all my mana crystals and then all the little tokens that were from Shades of Tesla plus my dice. And then I have this larger tackle box in here. And the big tackle box basically contains everything else. So I've got all my minis kind of crunched up over here. That's not a big deal to me, but what's important for me is that each of these little sections has all of the tokens for heroes. So if I want to start up a game, I can just grab everything for Goldix, or I can just grab everything for Wolfhawk and get going because it's all just kind of piled up in here. I have a couple of expansion things in here that fit as well, and then I have all of my tokens that are arranged by type. So Rampaging Enemies, Draconum, Mage Towers, it's all over here. So sometimes I will actually just put them in little bags or cups to draw from, and then they all come back here when I'm done playing the game. So as you can see, what this video might be showing you is that everything for Mage Knight, all of the expansions, everything, can fit in a box that's this size instead of a box that's the Ultimate Edition size. And for me, that is important because shelf space is a big deal for me. I've also invested a lot in this particular copy. I got the best sleeves that I could for all of the cards. Everything's organized just the way that I like it. And honestly, I'm kind of attached to having things this way. I will say that there are, warts with the earlier printings of Mage Knight. One thing that is true about Ultimate Edition is that all of the cards and tokens are uniform size, uniform color, it's all the same printing. Some of the expansions for Mage Knight, most notably the Shades of Tesla expansion, have some differences in card stock and token thickness and size that make differences between pieces for the expansions noticeable. The size differences are not huge. I'm not even really sure that showing them to you on this camera is going to be that helpful, but some of the cards are thinner, some of the tokens are thinner from that later expansion. And I know that that drove some gamers absolutely crazy because they were able to tell when a token or a card was coming up what expansion it came from. For me, that is not a big deal. All my cards are sleeved, which means that they feel uniform in my hands. And all of the tokens I pull out of a bag or cup anyway, so I'm unlikely to see any size differences. But this game, unlike the Ultimate Edition, kind of has the scars of evolving over many years across different printings with different consistencies. For me, that's something that's almost charming. I love this game just the way it is. So for me, it makes the most sense to just keep the version of Mage Knight I already have, especially since I now also have those 5 cards that were printed with the Ultimate Edition. However, if you are getting Mage Knight for the first time, I do recommend that you just pick up the Ultimate Edition. It's more cost effective because you don't have to buy the base game and then all of the expansions separately, which will cost you a pretty penny at this point. All of the pieces are printed in a uniform way, and really it's probably just a better investment overall. However, I will say that I don't love that huge box size. I much prefer this little compact box that I've got all my Mage Knight stuff in. And I do think that if I were keeping the Ultimate Edition, I would probably pull the inserts out and put in tackle boxes and deck boxes, something like this, to make the game easier to unpack and then repack according to my preferences. It's so much easier to start a game of Mage Knight with my stuff set up this way because I can just pull it all apart and set things up because it's ready for setup basically. And then when I tear it down, I just put everything back in the same way and it's ready to go again the next time I pull the game out. But with all of that said, whether you have the more petite box that I've ended up sticking with, or the huge monster that is the Ultimate Edition, you really can't go wrong, because it's Mage Knight. Anyway, I hope that this just kind of gave y'all an idea of the differences between the two editions, and a brief overview of what you're getting, depending on what you buy. I'm personally going to be setting up for some more Mage Knight soon, and I hope that you'll join me. Happy gaming.